on what Badger Athletic means financially to the Madison Greater Dane community and how we may expect that to look differently in the coming month? So,
sure,
Chris?
that's a great question. And George, thanks again for having me on. It was about a year ago that we were able to release our economic impact study, and a couple of the highlights from that are relevant. Over a typical calendar year, the athletics department provides about a $610 million economic impact to the state of Wisconsin, almost $400 million to the city of Madison, $395 million actually. And that's broken out over all of our events, football games, basketball games, concerts, you name it. Each football Saturday carries with it about a $16 million economic impact to the local area. And so obviously, as we go forward in this, dynamic environment and in a season like one that we couldn't have ever imagined, it's going to change. The ability to draw 80,000 people to Camp Randall to enjoy a game isn't going to exist this year. And so, we have been pretty forthright about the challenges that we will face, the economic challenges that we'll face because of that. And unfortunately, we've done everything we can. I feel confident we've done everything we can to try to minimize that to our partners in the community around us. But unfortunately, it's impossible to avoid it. So it will be felt just by the fact that it's not appropriate to gather large amounts of people right now.
Okay, great, thank you. Next question is related to Coach Alvarez. Has been instrumental in the success of University of Wisconsin athletics, and so what do you think will happen once he retires? Will we still be able to maintain that same standard of excellence?
Yeah, that's a good question. Well, I'll say that showing no signs of slowing down right now. So, our focus to date has been it's been all hands on deck since the second week of March. Coach has been front and center in that. He played a significant role in bringing our seasons back out of postponement. His experience and his leadership, were central to our being able to do that. The future down the road someday without Coach here is certainly one that is difficult for a lot of people to imagine, given the fact that he's just been here for so long and he's just an institution in and of himself. But we haven't looked that far down the road. We're trying to get to October 24th to play a game this season, and right now everything that we need to focus on is right in front of us.
Thank you. Next question is from Sue Levitan. It's related to the $16 million impact per game. Does that include ticket costs?
I believe it does, Stu. It's basically the share of wallet for our fans in the market. I think if it's appropriate, I can share that report with this group afterwards. I can make it available. I'll share a link to it if you'd like to dig into it in detail.
Okay, great. And so one of the things that I'll ask everybody is please mute yourself because I'm hearing a lot of feedback. So the question is, how have the non-revenue sports managed during COVID? Have they been more or less impacted as the revenue generating sports, or does it work out basically about the same?
Yeah, I mean, the impact has been spread across all 23 of our programs. As you'll know, the financial engine to underwriting the expense of opportunity for all of our programs is football, as was shared in the presentation. Football has served as the priority to bring back due to the timeliness of the season and the importance of bringing it back so that opportunity can be extended beyond football. Our other sports are coming back online, and there's some certainty forming around their seasons. You may have noticed yesterday an announcement around hockey. They're going to start in November. Basketball will start here in about a week or so. both basketballs, that is. But the balance of the fall sports have been pushed to the spring at the NC2A level for championships. And so they've been in a training pattern right now, obviously absent competitions, but for the most part, we've been able to provide a safe environment and an opportunity for them to train. Like all of us, it looks much different than normal. But I think, one of the great things that has come of this is that our staff has come together and our athletes have come together and are genuinely grateful for the opportunity to participate and to train, even if it's not in competitions that were, originally scheduled to take place this fall and might take place in the spring. But the short answer is yes, they've been able to train.
Good. So can you talk about the life and the day of a student athlete and the academic support they get, and also comment on the need for flexible internships during the summer so they can accommodate their training needs? Yeah,
I'd be happy to. Even in a COVID environment like the one we live in right now, our entire day, the day of a student athlete is built around their class schedule. And so right now, our student athletes are coming in the mornings and participating in varying frequencies of testing for COVID. Our football players every day as the pilot to being able to take advantage of daily, frequent, rapid turnaround antigen testing. Hopefully that'll be made available to more athletes as time goes on. But that takes place in the morning. They go to practice and usually have a strength and conditioning workout to follow, eat a meal, and then the balance of the day is spent on their class schedules. Usually at this point in time in the season, they'll come back in the evenings and study up more on the competitions, on the game itself, but in a voluntary fashion. But it's a busy day and it's a long day. If you ask me, it's one of the skills that gets refined here as part of student athlete experience, one that carries with it a benefit for a long time. But that said, to kind of finish out the life cycle of a student athlete experience, when you get close to the end of it, it does involve internships and ideally career placement in meaningful job opportunities. That's been a priority of ours for the last few years. And I think we've made a lot of progress there. As such, we need partners in the marketplace that would be willing to provide those internships to our talented student athletes, but have the ability to be flexible around their schedules. It's a full day and it's a never-ending one, it seems. But I think, I know there are folks on this call that have benefited, their organizations have benefited from providing some flexibility to our student athletes in the form of internships, and those internships have led to, I think, productive job placements for those organizations. And so if you can extend a little bit of patience and understanding and flexibility on the front end and accept one of our talented young people in your organization as an intern, it's a great way to lead to a talented long-term hire.
Great, thank you. So the next question is from Martha Sullivan. It says, how are we keeping these athletes safe, especially with so many of the students being communities that have disproportionate risk to COVID? And what about how are the students coping, basically?
Mm-hmm. Well, it's interesting. If I go back to March, in the way that COVID was thrust upon us, we essentially were forced to close our doors to our athletes, and our buildings and our facilities went dark for a period of time, basically until June. And we deemed that to be necessary and the safest approach at the time. I'm sure everybody on the call can relate. Each day we learn more and more and more, and we apply it. And one of the things we learned is, in terms of the safety of our student athletes, both physical safety and mental health, providing them the opportunity to come into our facilities and to be around their programs and be around their sports, something that many of them, the vast majority of them, have dedicated the majority of their lives to, was really important. And so we've addressed it both in terms of the safety of the physical environment. We've invested tremendous amounts of resources into our testing, and that continues to adapt to the times and advance. I mentioned earlier the antigen test, the daily antigen test that some of our teams now are well, starting with football, and will be made available to more of our teams, versus the weekly or biweekly PCR tests that we've been doing since June 8th. What we found is our student athletes are motivated by the incentive. They're motivated to make great decisions outside of our facilities, on campus, and in their personal lives, in exchange for the ability or the privilege to participate with their teams, be held accountable by their teammates, and to make use of our facilities. There is no, as we go forward with our seasons, this is not a bubble environment like those that we read about in other leagues. And we've got a great testing protocol now, but the linchpin of our approach is in individuals, student athletes, coaches, staff, and fans really making informed, responsible decisions. And our testing is not a vaccine. It's not a fix for that problem. And so that incentive for those student athletes to participate as part of a team has proven to be a very strong one.
Thank you. So how can members of the Madison business community support our student athletes on and off the field, whether it's field, court, or ice?
That's a great question, and I appreciate that. I think this community can help us meet an objective, and it's what I just talked about. I touched on with internships and with job placement. The best approach that we can take, and the ideal outcome, if you ask me, is one in which we recruit talented young people to Madison, to the university. We provide them an experience as a student athlete here that is one that's balanced both academically and athletically. They leave here with a set of unique skills, time management, as an example that we've just talked about, the ability to compete on a big stage, to operate under pressure, in addition to their academic training here. And in a perfect world, those talented people stay here. They stay in our market, and they make an impact on our community. That is, if you ask me, the ideal kind of life cycle, if you will, of a student athlete experience. And the people on this call and the Rotary Club of Madison can play a role in that, a substantial role in working with us on the back end of that process, that life cycle, if you will, to provide those opportunities to get to know our student athletes through internships. And then I think it's a mutually beneficial outcome in which, if it's a good fit for both parties, to have a talented young person, a student athlete in your organization on a more permanent basis seems to be the best and biggest way that this group could make an impact.
Thank you. Next question is from Stu, and he's inquiring reference what is being done as the games start up to ensure safety community, whether it's tailgating and other game watching activities. Obviously, you're bringing people together again. What is being done by the university to mitigate that and minimize the risk?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think you've seen some messaging, and you will continue to see more and more messaging from our leaders and from our student athletes around making decisions, responsible decisions around the games. There won't be tailgating in and around the stadium, but as we all know, there's only so much of that we can control, and much of our ability to produce a season, 8 games plus hopefully a championship game for us, relies around the ability or centers around the ability for our student athletes and our coaches to play and stay healthy. And in order to do that, our community plays a role in that, our campus plays a role in that. And so you'll see messaging around that. We're all in this together, and we need the help of everyone to do that. But in terms of our own operational approach. It'll be pared down drastically. Only a mere fraction of folks will be in Camp Randall, and we have been and will continue to be actively messaging to our alum and to those that would traditionally support us. This is a year to stay home and watch it on TV, and we'll come back in fall 21 in a big way.
So I guess one of the things that I'm curious at, if you're going to have cardboard fans, will you ask for UW fans to have their pictures and then make them the cardboard and put them in the stands to try to get audience involvement and have fun? Have you thought about that?
Stay tuned. Stay tuned. There may or may not be an announcement coming shortly on that.
Yeah, I'm sure Alex Vitalia and some of the other people can come up with good ideas like that to get, it'll be fantastic to have a video shot of the fans. And sure enough, there's Martha Sullivan over there, Jason Ilstrup over here. I'm sure they'll also, Brian Chan. So they'll be all there getting their names out, supporting the UW Badgers. So that's fantastic. Yeah. If there's any questions, let me give a second for any last minute questions. Otherwise, I don't see anything. Chris, I want to thank you very much for your time, your presentation and your time answering our question, and wish you the best of luck in the start of the athletic program. And so that's nothing but luck considering the pandemic we're going through, right? I mean, it's a unique situation. So thank you very much for your presentation, and thank you everyone for being here today. And with that, we are adjourned.